everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachel. I'm an owner and craft educator here at Oak and Lamb. As you could tell by the title, today we're talking about resin that we bought from the Dollar Tree. I know what you're thinking. How good could it be? Is the quality nice? Is it worth my money? We are going to break all of that down for you today and test it out. We're going to make sure that this resin is up to the standard that we are looking for when using A/B part resin. So this is not UV resin. It is a resin that you mix that is cured with time, not with UV light. So keep that in mind. This is not like UV resin in that sense. So we're going to mix it up, lay it in some molds and see how it looks. Is it clear? Is it bubbly? Is it yellow? We're going to really put it through the ringer here. So stay tuned for that. If you are brand new here, I would like to welcome you to the channel. We're so glad you're here. If you happen to enjoy crafting as much as we do, then you would absolutely love the community that we have built here at Oak and Lamb. We have over 1,000 digital cut files that you can use, whether you like to craft with your Cricut or your laser cutter or with sublimation, with card making, anything like that. Our cut files can really help you in your crafting journey and inspire you every single day. We also have a free commercial use license with those, as well as other membership perks and a member-only Facebook group. That is where all of our members come together, share project inspiration, get questions answered, and just have fellowship with everyone. It is amazing. Also, if you happen to have a Cricut and you are new to the Cricut community, whether that be the Maker, the Explorer, or the Joy line of machines, we have content for you within that membership completely free. We have some really great courses, so definitely check those out. Check the link down below. That's how you can join Oak and Lamb. So we're going to be mixing this up, pouring it into some molds, and kind of putting it through the ringer. This will have to be a 2-day video because A/B part resin cures pretty slowly. So I'll kind of allow you to get a peek at the ins and outs of all of that. But what you'll need is the resin, some molds. We just have some clear silicone molds here. Now A/B part resin, you do not have to have clear silicone molds. They can be colored. The reason we have clear here is because we use UV resin a lot, which does require clear molds. We also have a little cup and a popsicle stick to be able to mix our resin thoroughly. You have to have even amounts of both of these. If you don't, then it will not cure properly, so definitely pay attention to that. And before we get going, personal protection. Use your mask, use your gloves, be outside, do all of that good stuff. I don't want to hear comments about it, just being honest with you. So take all the precautions you can. Your all safety matters to us so very much, so please stay safe when using things like resin and epoxy and UV resin and all that good stuff. So stay safe, do that. Now let's flip over to the overhead camera and I'll share with you how we're going to pop this mixture in these molds. Okay, we have our little cup, our popsicle stick. This is a 3-ounce cup. And we're just going to open up our packaging here. So in resin in general, you will have an A and a B if you're using 2-part resin, and one is going to be a lot thicker than the other one. That's completely normal. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a true control knife or an X-Acto knife or whatever you have and take off that little lid there. Go ahead and do that for both of them. And if you ever get uncured resin on anything, you can just spray it down with some alcohol and wipe it right off. So I'm just going to wipe off our true control knife, pop that back in there. Now I would recommend you having like a place to mix this, something on your work surface, something like that. So let's go ahead and measure this out. Now you are going to have to measure this perfectly. What I would recommend for you all honestly is to have 2 separate cups and measure them and then measure them again. So that's kind of how you would get the perfect measurement, but you would have to do a lot of scraping on the sides to make sure you get the same volume of one into the other. And what I usually like to do is add the thinner side into the thicker side. It seems to be the easiest way to make sure I'm getting, like, scraping down the sides and getting all of one side into the mixture. And now you're just going to mix. So you're going to take this, Start on the bottom, scrape the sides, and you're gonna do this for what feels like forever. I would honestly do this, I would set a timer and do this for 3 to 5 minutes. You want this to be nice and incorporated. In the same breath, you really wanna be careful to not whip up too many bubbles in this. You want a nice, happy medium between stirring it too vigorously and not stirring it enough, because again, if there are like streaks or something in here where it's not nice and mixed together, that's going to equal your resin not curing properly in the future, and we don't want that to happen. So make sure you're going to mix it really well, not trying to beat air into it, but just kind of getting it all incorporated. Make sure you're scraping the bottom, scrape the sides, and you're going to do this for a while. Now after this is mixed is when you would want to use any powders or glitter or pigments or dyes or anything like that that you have specifically for your resin. But again, today we're just going to test how it works in its most basic form, how it performs, how it hardens, if it's going to be bubbly or yellow or something like that. And the best way we can do that is by keeping it nice and clear, just how it's supposed to be. So along with this, you'll also need, I usually use a lighter. You can use alcohol, but honestly, sometimes for peskier bubbles, I think a lighter or a blowtorch is best. And what that's going to be used for is, honestly, in the first several hours as it's trying to cure, the bubbles that are being incorporated right now through this process is going to be bubbling up at the top. And if those cure in your project, they're just kind of stuck there. However, if you can babysit your project for a little while and go over there and pop some bubbles with your lighter or spray it with some rubbing alcohol, that will really help to pop those bubbles before they cure, because of course we want a nice crystal clear resin, and anything we can do to prevent those bubbles is what we're going to do. So I'm going to treat this resin just like any other resin so that we have a nice fair analysis when the job is done. We're just going to continue to mix this up, and then I'll pour it up in my molds. Okay, this is all nice and mixed up. I don't see any more like streaks of cloudy and clear. It all looks nice and cohesive. So all I'm going to do is pour this into my molds here. I got to make sure I have enough for all of these. Just like that. Some of these are going to be a little bit thicker than others. This is self-leveling, so whenever I move these from this bin that they're on, they'll self-level, and that'll be nice. But this is plenty of resin for these molds. The only reason I have it on this right now is because I do have to move these eventually, so I'd rather move them on something sturdy. So you can just take this by hand and move these around in the molds, whatever you want to do. But there's that one. Here's this one. So we're going to test and see if these dry nice and clear, cloud-free. So what you're going to do at this point is get something like a blowtorch like this, or something like a lighter. And I hate saying it, but I would honestly say about every hour for the first several, if you can, go over this and pop these little bubbles. I mean, more will be surfacing, but this is really going to be a good, true test on if this resin is nice and clear, because really you can't judge A/B part resin if you don't babysit it a little bit and make sure you help it along, because every single A/B part resin is going to have bubbles because you're mixing it by hand. So really this is something that I can do to ensure that the end result is going to be the best that it can be, so that we can judge the actual brand of UV resin easily. So just go through this. I mean, it won't take but 30 seconds, honestly. Just sweep around. You might not see a lot happening, but trust me, a lot's happening. And this is where you can also take your rubbing alcohol and spray it if you wanted to do that. So we're going to go ahead and let these chill. I would say 12 hours for a total harden. It depends on how thick it is, how thin it is. If there's any glitter in it or anything like that, that might hinder it from drying super quick. But you guys get the gist. I would keep it overnight or whatever. So we'll be back to see how these cured and give our final review. Okay, it has been well over 24 hours, simply just because I haven't gotten to film this yet, but it was cured and ready to go after about 10. These are decently thin layers. Now again, I did babysit it for about 2 hours and come in and check on it and put some of that torch on there and really get those bubbles out. But I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with this resin. So I'm going to remove all of these from the mold here. And I'm very impressed. It dried super crystal clear. It dried nice and hard. We mixed everything well together, but it's a very clear, bubble-free resin. It's not yellow, which some resins are cured yellow, which is a problem. But I was actually very, very impressed with this. So honestly, as the product, I'm really impressed. Now again, is this worth $5? I'm gonna go with no. I really don't think that these 2 little bottles of resin are worth $5. There are a lot of really good resins out there that you can get. But now if you want to do all the math with like the grams and everything like that, we will link our favorite AB part resin and our favorite UV resin just for the heck of it. And you guys can let us know your thoughts down below. But UV resin is usually more expensive than epoxy AB part resin. And this one is, in my opinion, it's pretty darn expensive for being AB resin. But quality, that's kind of, that's kind of the question of the video. As far as quality goes, it's high quality. It's really nice resin. It was easy to work with, easy to mix. But again, no bubbles, crystal clear, not yellow. I think that this is a really good product. I hope that you did enjoy this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to click that link down below and join Oak and Lamb, and click subscribe. Click the notification bell, like the video, leave us a comment, all of that good stuff. We really, really appreciate it. If you all do have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. I cannot wait to see you another day for another video.